This is a big story we've been following. Did Portland police officers cross the line when they took this suspected drunk driver to the ground? The arrest was captured on camera here. You saw this video first on KATU last night at 11 o'clock, courtesy of our news partners at Willamette Week. KATU's on your side investigator Dan Tilkin has been looking closely at this video, and there's really key pieces of evidence that are missing from this tape right now, Dan.
Right. See, for one, there is no sound. You cannot hear why Jason Cox is in this confrontation with police. Also, the camera over the parking lot at the strip club in southeast Portland, it's motion activated. It starts and stops. And when trying to figure out why police did this and why he did this, whether they overreacted or whether he was acting belligerent in all this, hard to tell.
Take us back to the beginning, how this whole thing started.
Well, first of all, this was 2 years ago, started 2 years ago. Police thought that Cox was drunk driving. You can see Cox arguing with police there at the edge of your screen. He does agree to a sobriety test, but then something goes wrong, and they take him to the ground. You'll see an officer, the one closest to you in the screen there, the bottom of your screen. He will punch Cox in the face. He will end up punching him 6 times.
Well, let's talk about that, because police are saying they punched him and they tased him, and you're watching some of that coming up here, because he refused to surrender his hands.
Right. Well, in the police reports, the officers say they were afraid that he was going to reach for a weapon. They say earlier he was talking about being a former military policeman, and he acted like he wanted to fight. Now, Cox's lawyer says Cox moved his hands forward to protect himself in that fall. Now, we asked a Portland lawyer who advises police on use of force to analyze this video. He talked to us through FaceTime from a conference in Bend. After him, you'll hear from the lawyer for Jason Cox.
All of the officers' actions until you get to the strikes to the head, that's all pretty textbook. I don't think anybody can responsibly fault the officers until they make a determination about what led to that degree of force.
Officers are allowed to use reasonable force under all circumstances. What you see here is officers choosing to punish someone because they take offense at his attitude.
The 3 police officers were cleared by both an internal affairs investigation and also by the Portland Police Independent Review Commission. They all decided that what they did was within their guidelines they're allowed to.
Dan, thank you.
Late this afternoon, we can tell you the Bureau released a nearly 13-minute-long version of that video. It shows in greater detail what happened before and after the incident. KATU investigator Anna Canzano has been looking through the 47-page arrest report the Bureau released a few hours ago. Anna, you're seeing a bit of a mismatch between the report and officer accounts of what happened here.
That's right, Steve. You know, taking a look at this 3-page cover letter from Internal Affairs, it doesn't fully match the officers' accounts of what happened that evening. For example, Internal Affairs says that before Cox was hit with closed fists, Officer Kerwin had already deployed a taser, which had not been effective up to that point. But Officer Kerwin's own statement was that she'd used the taser after the first blow had been struck. The Bureau saying Officer Bruders wrote in his report that he struck Cox after Cox had been warned to put his hands behind his back. But Officer Bruders himself says he hit first, then warned second. The longer version of the video released by the Bureau does support certain details the officers describe. One talks about Cox rolling around and swinging his legs at officers during the arrest. You can see some version of that in the video. Another does talk about him continuing to cuss at them and continuing to struggle. Again, because that video is silent and because it is shot from a bit of a distance, those details are harder for us, the viewing public, to perceive. Back to you.
A lot of our viewers talking about this one tonight. Anna, thank you very much. Stay with KATU News for continuing coverage of the story. We have the entire surveillance video posted on our website. Go to KATU.com.